Crazy.
Stay ready. Swords. Oh.
Call ya Allah, ban yashkar, ban yasha Allah.
Yakal Yalla ban Yashkar ban Yashala.
Yahweh Bashim Yashakar.
Yahabashim Yashabrakata. Hold on, we gotta do this first.
La yasha Allah.
La Yashala.
Slide.
Now with that, Amadim, which means to stand. Sar, upon Yahakodam, which means turn and face towards the east. And we're going to start with the Lord's Prayer in the ancient Hebrew. Whenever you're ready.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shumka. Yahweh. Malatwaka. Taba'ah. Radzayaka. Hayah. Aisha. Baratiza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashemayim. Latanana. Lakam. Ka. Yawam. Pasalakna. Kabawatna.
Kasalakna.
Kabawatna.
Wala.
Wala.
Tabi'ayna.
Manasai
One.
Abo.
Bo.
Aishayna.
Mayan.
Ra.
Ra.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Malakwa.
Amalakwa.
Wahala.
Wahala.
Watapara. Alamyam.
Aman. In English, what we said was, Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh. Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done
Thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread.
our daily bread.
And forgive us our debts.
Forgive us our debts
As we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our
And
debtors.
lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us
deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom
For thine is the kingdom
and the power
and the power
and the glory
and the glory
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
This is the Hakat in the last round Kodash. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Babakashah.
Babakashah.
Latanana.
Latanana.
Ka.
Haka.
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 La Pa'a.
Lapa.
Kamakala.
Kamakala.
Wakamarawa.
Wakamarawa.
Haka.
Haka.
La Tahar.
Latahar.
Hamatazariah.
Hamatazariah.
Haka.
Haka.
Lahakwim.
Lahakwim.
Hamatim.
Hamatim.
Haka.
Haka.
Awakawa.
Awakawa.
Hatamal.
Hatamal.
Lagarishan.
Lagarishan.
Ba'ashem.
Bahasham.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Tawad.
Tawad.
Amen.
Amen. Now the power of prayer in English. Lord,
Lord,
in the name of Yahushua,
in the name of Yahushua,
please give us the power.
please give us the
The
power,
power to heal
the power to heal
all manner of sickness,
all manner of sickness,
and all manner of disease,
and all manner of disease,
the power to cleanse the
the
lepers,
power to cleanse the lepers,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean
the
spirits,
power against unclean
to
spirits,
cast them out.
to cast them out.
In the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua,
Thank you, so be it.
thank you, so be it.
This is the blessed Israel in the last round Kodash. Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem,
Yahushua.
Yahushua,
Rakanawa.
Rakanawa.
Washa'ala.
Weshala.
Waha.
Waha,
Wayasapari.
Bayasapari.
Barak.
Barak.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushua.
Yahushua.
Water.
The water. Amen. And what we said was, Lord,
Lord,
in the name of
in
Yahushua,
the name of Yahushua,
bless us
bless us
and Israel
and Israel
and the school
and the school.
in the name of Yahushua.
In the name of Yahushua,
Thank you, so be it.
thank you, so be it.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 121 in the last round Kodash. Aisha,
Aisha,
Ayanya,
Ayanya,
Al-Hahain,
Al-Hahain,
Ma'ayan,
Ma'ayan,
Yaba'a,
Yaba'a,
Azari,
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 Ma'an,
Ma'ayan,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Aisha,
Aisha,
Shamayam,
Shamayam,
Wa'aratiza,
Wa'aratiza,
Al-Yatan,
Al-Yathan,
Namawat,
Lamawat,
Regalka,
Regalka,
Al-Yanawam,
Al-Yanawam,
Shamarka,
Shamarka,
Hana,
Hana,
La'a,
La'a,
Yanawam,
Yanawam,
Walala,
Wala'a,
Yayashan,
Yayashan,
Shalomam,
Shawamar,
Yashal,
Yasha'al,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Shamarka,
Shamarka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Tazalka,
Tazalka,
Al-Yad,
Al-Yad,
Yamyamka,
Yamyamka,
Yawamam,
Yawamam,
Hashamash,
Hashamash,
Layakaka,
Layakaka,
Wayarak,
Wayarak,
Layala,
Balayala,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamarka,
Yashamarka,
Mikarai,
Mukalra,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Atnapashka,
Athnapashka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Tazaka,
Tazaka,
Wawaka,
Wabawaka,
Mayata,
Mayata,
Wa'ad,
Wa'ad,
Awalam.
Awalam. Psalm 121 in the English. I will lift up my eyes unto the hill.
I will lift up my eyes to the hills.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh,
My help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Yasha'al
he that keepeth Yasha'Allah
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade.
Yahweh is thy shade
Upon thy right hand.
upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83, and the last from Kadash. Allahai,
Allahai,
Alta Miyalaka,
Alta Miyalaka,
Alta Karash,
Alta Karash,
wa Alta Shakpat,
wa Alta Shakwat,
Al,
Al,
Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awayabyaka,
Awayabyaka,
Yahamayawan,
Yahamayawan,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al Amaka,
Al Amaka,
Yaryamwa,
Yarayamwa,
Sawada,
Sawada,
Wa'atha,
Waita,
Ya'itazawa,
Yaitazawa,
Altazawanyaka,
Altazawanyaka,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Lakaw,
Lakawa,
Manakap Yadam,
Manakakidam,
Magawi,
Magawia,
Wala Yazikar,
Wala Yazikar,
Sam Yashal,
Sham Yasha'Allah,
Awada,
Awada,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawa'itazawa,
Nawaitazawa,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakabwa,
Yakabwa,
Awyaka,
Alyaka,
Barya,
Baryat,
Yakarathwa,
Yakarathwa,
Ahari,
Ahalia,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashmalim,
Washmalia,
Mawab,
Mawaba,
Wagari,
Wahagaria,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Wamawan,
Waimawan,
Wamalak,
Waimalak,
Kalashat,
Halashat,
Amishabi,
Amishabi,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gamashawar,
Gamashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Amar,
Imam,
Ayawa,
Hayawa,
Zarawat,
Zarawat,
Bani Lawat,
Labanya Lawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Ashalaham,
Aishalaham,
Madya,
Kamadya,
Kasaya Sarah,
Kasayasara,
Kayabya,
Kayabya,
Banakaw,
Banakal,
Koyashwan,
Payashwan,
Nashamadwa,
Lashamadwa,
Bayandara,
Bayandara,
Ayawa,
Hayawa,
Damah,
Damar,
Adama,
Ladama,
Shaitamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Nadayamawa,
Nadayabawa,
Karab,
Hairab,
Wakazabak,
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 Wakatazamana,
Wakatazamana,
Kanasai Kamwa,
Kanasai Kamwa,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amaru,
Amaru,
Narasha,
Nairashah,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
At,
Nawa,
Naawa,
Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Alaya,
Alahaya,
Shaitamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Kagagala,
Kagalgala,
Kakwash,
Shakwash,
Lapanya,
Lapanya,
Raka,
Raha,
Kash,
Kaash,
Dabair,
Tabaira,
Yair,
Yair,
Wakalaba,
Wakalahaba,
Talahat,
Talahat,
Harayam,
Harayam,
Kantar Dapma,
Kantar Datma,
Basairika,
Basairika,
Wabasawapatka,
Wabasawa Patka,
Wabahalam, Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'a,
Mala'a,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Palawan,
Kwalawan,
Webakwashwa,
Webakwashwa,
Shamka,
Shumka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Webahawa,
Wayabahalwa,
Aja
Ajai,
Wegapawa,
Wayakaparwa,
Weabadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Weda'iwa,
Wayadaiwa,
Kayata,
Kayata,
Shamka,
Shumka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Labadka,
Labadka,
Al Yawan,
Al-Yawan,
Alkaha,
Al-Kahal,
Ratza.
Aratza. Psalm chapter 83 in the English. Keep not thou silence,
Keep not thou silence,
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace,
Hold not thy peace,
and be not still,
and be not still,
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For
For lo,
thy enemies make a tumult,
the enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted
against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
Come,
Come, and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a nation.
from being a nation.
The name Yasha'Allah
That the name Yasha'Allah
may be no more in remembrance.
may be no more in
But
remembrance.
they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against
The
thee.
tabernacles of Edom
The tabernacles of Edom
and the Ishmaelites
and the Ishmaelites
of Moab
of Moab
and the Hagarenes
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal
Gabal
and Ammon
and Ammon
and Amalek
and Amalek,
the Philistines,
the Philistines,
the inhabitants of Tyre.
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
Ashur also was joined with them.
Ashur also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have opened the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them
Do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the
as
Midianites,
to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of Kaisan,
at the brook of Kaisan,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles
Like
Oreb,
like Oreb
and like Zeeb.
and like Zaeb.
Yea, all their princes as Zabah,
All the princes Zabah
and as Zalmunna,
and as Zalmunna,
who said,
who said,
Let us take to ourselves
let us take to ourselves
the houses of God in possession.
the houses of God into possession.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the fire burneth a wood,
as the fire burneth they wood,
and as the flame set the mountains on fire.
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy tempest,
with thy tempest,
make them afraid
and make them afraid
with thy storm,
with thy storm.
fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy name.
that they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
O Yahweh,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
is
is Yahweh,
Yahweh,
art the most high
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
This is the blessings from the last one for us. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Wa Miyaka'al.
Wa Yahweh.
Wa Alahai.
Wa Alahai.
Ma Dezab Ya'ah.
Wa Tazab Ya'ah.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Ha Alawapim.
Ha Alawapyam.
Ha Saranyam.
Ha Saranyam.
Quarters Ayayim.
Quartazayanyam.
Kal Yayim.
Bakal Yayanyam.
Wa Aquathi.
Ha Bakwathya.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Water.
The
The water.
Amen.
Amen.
The blessings prayer in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahweh Shai,
and Yahweh Shai,
and Michael,
and Michael,
and the angels,
and the angels,
commanding General Yohana,
commanding General Yohana,
the generals,
the generals,
the captains,
the captains,
the officers,
the officers,
the troopers,
the troopers,
and the sisters,
and the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shai.
in the name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
Go ahead, blow the horn one more time. Set this down. All right, with that, Mashabia, which means to sit. Shalom, Israel. This is Isupk. It started out at 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, in 1969. We are under commanding General Yohana, here to teach the truth of the Bible to so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indians are the real Israelites according to the scriptures. Today being the Sabbath service, we're going to go into the Old Testament to read more of our history and how our nation came to be. And as we continue to rehearse the righteous acts of the Most High is beginning to really show his strength in the earth once again. These prayers that we have just read are exactly what you see going on around the world right now, where the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites, are now in a direct conflict with one another more so than they have been over the past 60 years. And that's saying something because, again, we've been talking about Afghanistan since the Twin Towers were hit in 2001. What just happened yesterday is a direct part of what happens when we pray to the Most High.
Right.
When we pray to the Lord that the other nations be punished for their crimes of stealing our land and taking advantage of the children of Israel and all the things that they were designed and created to do, We are designed and created to do our part and pray for things to be corrected. And so when we read those prayers and we read them, they are part of the reason why those things continue to happen, because the children of Israel are awakening to their true heritage. And I can't stress that enough, because the country of Israel just directly attacked Iran. Y'all understand what the how dire of a event that is? It's been a proxy war for a long time, multiple years, dozens of years. And now it's a direct conflict, which is an escalation of war between the BRIC nations, which would be countries such as Syria, Iran, and Russia and China, in a direct conflict with their allies, and of course the U.S. and NATO and the Israeli state as it is today. So we're looking at World War III, people. You know what I'm saying? World War III is on and cracking.
Right.
We don't feel the effects of it right now because, of course, during an election time frame, they're looking to try to smooth things out and keep people's lives as it is. But this could very well soon escalate to the point where it gets out of hand. And then elections will get suspended. And then who knows what's going to happen? Civil unrest is going to begin and things like that. And so the Most High is really starting to make Israel wake up from their sleep so that they can lean on him and put faith in him more than ever before. And that goes without saying. Our entire history, what we read in these scriptures, is built on our ability to lean on the Most High and put faith in him. You understand? And not to lean on our own way of doing things and the ways that we get comfortable in wherever situations we're at. We have to continue to search for the Most High for comfort. And that's part of the reason why when we ask for these prayers to be fulfilled, we ask for the Most High to give us everything that's necessary to have our minds in the right outlook. You understand? As we get closer to these last days, or we technically in them already.
Right.
Let us continue to build on our faith towards the Most High. And that part of that is, of course, continuing to serve him and to cling back to our true heritage. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up where we left off last class, Genesis chapter 31. And are we starting at verse 10 or did we finish at verse 10? Go ahead and start at verse 10.
Come on, come.
And then we're going to read, just go ahead and read 7 verses at a time. And then we're going to break down what we're reading here. Again, we do this in the Lashon Kodash, and then we go back over in the English. So if you want to follow along with us, download the Bible Hub app on iOS and Android, and you can follow along with us in the interlinear version of the Bible in Genesis chapter 31, verse 10. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, starting at verse 10 in the Hebrew. Waya, haya, ba'aith, Yaham, Ha'aya, Salakya, Ha'ai, Wa'asha, Naya, no, Salakya, Ya, Naya, Wa'ara, Baha, Salakya, Baha Lawam, Wahana. Okay. Ha'ai Tarayam, Ha'ai Layam, all Hataza'a, Hataza'an, Salakya, Hakwarayam, Nakwadayam, Wabara Dayam. Verse 11. Wayawam, Salakya, Waya Amar, Alaya, Mala'ak, Ha'ara, no, sir, Ha'ala, ha'ala ha'ayam
Palawam.
bakwala ba what Salakia
Palawam.
bakwalawam yaquab wa amar hananaya wa ya amar shah na aya na yak na ya Salakia wa ra call ha'ai the yum ha'ai la yum all ha taza ha'an I qua the yum na qua the yum wa ba ra the yum kaya ra'aya ra'aya taya ath call ashar laban asha lak verse 13 anakaya ha'al bayath all ashar mashakath sham ma'ai ba ashar nada rath laya sham nadar I tha Salaki, sir, what?
Not a rock. Oh, no, I see what you use it in the third.
Kwam Tazaa. What is that, sir? Is that a na at the ma after the ma? Man. Ha rataza. Hazaa. Washa. Wab. All. Rat. Ritz. Rataza. Mawa. La. Dath. Salakia. Mawad la. Dathka. Malawat. Mawala dathka. Salakia. Mawa de la dath. Dath. Salakia, sir. How do you say that, sir? Mawa de la. The dak. The Salakia, sir. Mawa la da dak. Chapter, verse 14. What the I recall. Wala oh. What the mara run na lo ha'ai wad la nan
No.
la nawa kalak wana Kha La
Or not so, but you know, lot. Or
What?
no,
Wana Kala Ba Baba
yeah.
Baba Yath Aban Yanawa verse 15 Hala wa Naka Raya Wath Naka Sha Ba Nawa Lawa Kaya Makara Nawa Waya A Call Gum
Akawa.
Akawa Salaki Akawa Akawal Atha Ath Kapa no Salakia Kapana Salaki I can't hear you sir
Kasapa. Nawa.
Kasapa Nawa verse 16 Kaya call Ha Ashar Ha Tazayal Alachayim Ma'a by Yana Nawa La Nawa Hawa'a Salakia Wala Bana Ya Nawa Wa Tha Call Ashar Amar Allah Hayam Allah Haikat Salakia Allah Yak Aisha verse 17 Wa Ya Kwam Yaikwab Wa Ya Shah Ath Banayawa Wa'ath Nasha Yawa Al Haga Ma Salakia Haga Ma Layam verse 18 Wayana Ha Anayahag Ata Ath I was like Ath call Makwa Na Hawa no it's like how do you say that word Makwa Na Ha
Yeah.
Wa
No.
Wa'ath call Rakashawa Ashar Rakash Makwana Panaya Nawa Ashar Rakash Bapa Bapadaya Nasalakia but Bapada Dan Aram Laba Wa Al Yatazak Abay Salak Abayawa Arataza Kanai. Verse 19. Walaban. Halak. La Gaza. Ath. Taza'ai Nawa. Wathag Nab. Recall. Ath. Hatara Payam. Ashar. La'a Baya Salakia La Abaya. Verse 20.
No, we should have stopped a couple verses ago. Go ahead and read up until where you got in English. Well, for sure.
Read in the English.
Well, you know what? Read through verse 13. No, sorry, 23. That way you've done
Verse 23.
14 total verses.
Quran concert. Waya Gan Nab Yaquab At Lab Laban Ha'ash Shama Salaket Ha'a Ra Maya Ail Balaya Hagayad Lo Kaya Rock. Is that correct, sir? Barak? No.
Barach.
Barak.
Mhm.
Hawa'a. Verse 21. Waya Barak. Hawa'a. Wakal. Ashar. Lo. Waya Kwam. Waya I Bar. Ath. Hanaha. Salakia. Hanahar. Waya Salakia. Waya Sham. Ath. Panayawa. Har. Hagala Aid. Verse 22. Waya God. La Laban. By Salakia. By Yawam. Hasha Shala Yasha Salakia. Hasha La Ya Shaya Kaya. Where am I at? Barach Ra'ach Yaquab. Verse 23. Bayak Ath Kaya Wa Salakia. Akia Wa.
Oh, why? Like,
Go
why
ahead.
does it say? Is it just because it's like the Russell slave language, or not slave language? You know how they made it, or because why does it say? I forgot why it says. It's sort of like how those will say Akiyam, and it says Akiyawa.
Yawa is go to it. Akyawa.
Akiyawa.
It's because it's pertaining it to a specific person, his brothers. If we go to,
But if you're saying like brothers as a whole, you would say Aki Yom. Like,
yeah, because instead of when it says Yahweh at the end, it's kind of like saying his. When you look at the possessive adjectives that go at the end, his brothers. Yeah, Akya and then Wa is at the end.
Okay.
Because we know Akya means brother, but adding a Wa means his brothers. Or Akyawa. That's interesting though, because Akya just means one brother. So Akyawa technically should say his brother instead of his brothers. Akyawan or something like that may be a more specific version of that. Anyways, keep going.
Akiyawa, Aimawa, Waya, Ra, Dab, Acha, Ra, Yawa. Darak, Shaba, Aith, Yamayam, Wada, so Slakia, Waya, the Bak. No,
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead and get that into English now.
I got 2 words left.
Oh, go ahead.
Slakia, sir. Aitawa, Bahar, Ha, Ga, La, Aid.
All right, perfect. Let's get that into English. You're going to be at Genesis 31 and 10. Now, what's going on right here in this chapter is when Jacob, after working for Laban for what, like over 20 years? It was a long time.
Right.
Was then looking to separate himself from Laban by then, of course, the water says, appreciate that. Here you go. Was looking to basically move out, right? It's a different situation. We think of nowadays, a man joining himself to a daughter of a man, that it's some kind of quick thing, they get the blessing and they do the marriage and all. But in this particular case, Jacob had to work, 14 years, 7 years for one of the wives, one of the daughters of Laban. It's like one of the daughters of Laban to take to wife. And then what ended up happening was Laban kind of pulled a fast one and said, well, I need to marry off my older daughter because she should be married first. And so what ended up happening, y'all read about this in the Sabbath service of last class, right?
Okay.
And then he ended up having to work another 7 years because the one that he wanted, which I believe was Rachel, the one that he had originally planned to marry, he worked another 7 years. He ended up with both of the daughters, right? This is our history. This is the history of our nation, you know what I'm saying? And then after that, and he started building a family with them. And these daughters had maidservants who then also had children by Jacob. And this just goes to show you the nation of Israel is made up of a man that had more than one woman. Now, that's not the point of this story right here, but we're just recapping that because now that he's starting to have his family built up, and he's starting to have his sons, starting to be raised up by these women, uprooting and moving somewhere else is a huge endeavor. You know what I'm saying? There are brothers that moved out of state so that they can help build a school in a whole other state and had to count the cost for how much it's going to take for him to take his family and move them over to a whole other place for the sake of continuing to build on something. And we understand those things take a major sacrifice, but also a lot of preparation and things like that, right? So what's happening here is that Jacob is now taking a look at his entire situation, and he's thinking to himself, how can I make sure that when I move out of here, that I'm going to have everything that I need to sustain this growing family? You understand? Now let's go ahead and read verse 10.
Come on. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, starting at verse 10 in the English.
Yeah.
And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived, that I lifted up mine eyes and saw in a dream, and behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were ring straight, speckled, and bristled.
Right. Now, again, what was going on right here from the beginning of Genesis chapter 31 is the deal is being made between Laban and Jacob, to where Laban is asking him what he wants to have as a payment for staying a little while longer. And Jacob says, you know what? All of your cattle that have spots and blemishes, let me keep those, and the ones that are full bred, good condition, strong, you go ahead and hold on to those. But then earlier in the chapter, it shows that let me see, where was it at? Jacob had actually started to prepare the cattle to where some of them may seem like they had speckles, so that he could get some that were in fact strong, right? So there's controversy that builds up because of that. And where we're at right now is where it's starting to come into a controversy. And now Laban is kind of feeling like something ain't right about the cattle situation, because that's a very important commodity. That's like imagine if you had a four-car garage, right, with four cars that you need to have for all the different things that for your family to use and things like that. Those are things that are assets. And so think about that like that. Like flocks were assets back then that would provide food, that would provide clothing, that would provide, work, a lot of different things that they can be used for. And so having more of them is a good thing. Now, of course, it's more of a responsibility, but having more of them is a good thing. And also having ones that are high quality and are strong and can commit to a life of, of production and efficiency, that's also just as important. So this is where it's starting to kind of shift towards Jacob's favor, because of, he's the one that put in all the work all these years to take care of these flock. Now he wants something out of it, right? Which makes sense. But go ahead.
And the angel of God spoke, and the angel of God spake unto me in a dream, saying, Jacob. And I said, Here am I.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Lift up now thine eyes and see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-straight, speckled, and gristled. For I have seen all that Laban doeth unto thee.
So the Most High is sending an angel, a messenger, to communicate with Jacob and letting him know, listen, I see what's been going on. Laban has been taking advantage of your servitude and has done it in a way that has been unfair to you. I'm recognizing that. It says, so his dream signified that situation. Keep going.
Verse 13. I am the God of Bethel, where thou anointest the pillar, and where thou vowest a vow unto me. Now arise, get thee out of this land, and return unto the land of thy kindred.
Right. So now it's time for him to go back to where he came from. Because remember, Jacob went over there because why? Y'all know why? What was his whole purpose of going over there? Aside from, of course, marrying one of the daughters, right? What was the reason why? Y'all remember?
Sir, to find a wife.
No, it wasn't why. That wasn't the original reason why. Go ahead, Kabir.
To get away from his brother.
Get away from his brother Esau, who wanted to kill him. Remember?
Right.
So now he said, time's cooled off. You've built a family. You've got a situation. Now you're going to go back to that land, because now Esau's anger may have been simmered down a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's a timing thing. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, he works things out to where our timing, it works in Israel's favor. And so this is what he's telling them. Keep going.
And Rachel and Leah answered and said unto him, Is there yet any portion or inheritance for us in our father's house?
So now the daughters are worried about what they get out of this, right? Because just up and leaving the house is, again, it's something that everybody's going to have to deal with. And so once and this is something that I've noticed, especially sisters, especially, but brothers get this way too. When they have everything that they are used to, that they want, sometimes it's hard for them to let those things go. The way of life, the things that they have, right? Houses they live in, you know what I mean? And so just getting up and moving, that's what they're worried about. The first thing that they're worried about is, well, what do we have to take with us? Because it's about security. This is what they're bringing this up, because they're worried about the security of their household moving forward, getting up and moving, right? Of course, it's an uncomfortable thing to move. We know that for damn sure, because having to carry everything over and all that. Think about that. Try doing that thousands of years ago without a U-Haul. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? On foot or on the back of an animal. You know what I'm saying? And having to split everything up. Well, of course, you got to figure out what you have to take with you first. And then there's the whole logistics of the fact of getting it all moved, right? Of course, having animals with you, they kind of help carry some of that load, right? So
Right.
keep going.
Are we not counted of him strangers?
Hmm.
For he hath sold us and hath quite devoured also our money.
Keep going.
For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is yours, that is ours, and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do.
Most High in Christ for these women here because they are locked into their man. You know what I'm saying? With the fact that they have faith in the Most High to where they trust that the Most High is working through that man to build and continue to build their growing family, right? Because now you got a lot of sons that you're dealing with, right? And then you got the maid servants, the cattle, the servants. So this is an empire. This is a small empire that's in the verge of being built. And
Right.
they trust their husband to take care of them. And so they said, what? Read that last part again.
For all the riches which God hath taken from our father, that is ours, and our children's. Now then, whatsoever God hath said unto thee, do.
And that's the thing. That's what we have to understand is that when the Most High does work through men, that having that righteous order within the family, it leads to success for the entire family. A man has a responsibility to follow the Most High's will,
Right.
and then the women, when they lock into that, things will work out in our favor. Keep going.
Then Jacob rose up and set his sons and his wives upon camels,
Okay, keep
and
going.
he carried away all his cattle and all his goods which he had gotten, the cattle of his getting which he had gotten in Padam Aram,
Yep.
for to go to Isaac his father in the land of Canaan.
Now, Isaac is still alive at this point, right? I believe so. And so he's getting everything ready to go. But keep going. There's a little more here.
And Laban went to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the images that were her father's.
She stole something that belonged to her father. Okay. This is and you know it was deliberate because she waited for him to go out when he was out of the house to go and tend to the sheep, right?
Right.
And that's when she took that opportunity to steal what? What was it that she stole?
And it had stolen the images that were her father's.
Now, the word images is Hebrew Strong's definition H8655, which is therapium or therap, which would mean idol. And it says right here, the definition is an idol or image, the kind of idol used in household shrine or worship. Now, I want you to keep that in mind because today, what we're going to do after the Sabbath services, we're going to go out amongst the people here in San Antonio. We're going to go to an event where our people, they have shrines and idols and things set up for a holiday called Dia de los Muertos, which means Day of the Dead. And I'm looking at this event calendar, which you did an excellent job in finding some information on. And on this flyer, Dia de los Muertos, this flyer that says October 26th and 27th, it says they have 80 plus altars and 5 stages. Did you see that?
Right.
And what is on those altars? Idols.
Images.
And those are the things, those little trinkets that they sell during the holiday that is reminiscent of the same type of mentality that people back then were dealing with when they weren't dealing with the Most High. They were dealing with something else. Images and idols and pictures or figurines that are based off of either animals or humans or whatever, right? And so that's the effect of what it was. And she was attached to that. It was Rachel that was attached to it, right?
Right.
It was Rachel. So Rachel had grew up with those things, and though she was still locked in, what does that tell you? First of all, she is locked into her husband, meaning she had the spirit of being able to understand the importance of that. But that doesn't mean that there are still influences that can still affect her decision making. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we are all part of a process of purging ourselves from all the bombardment of imagery and idolatry and influence that this kingdom and the kingdoms before have built up to this kingdom to put on us, to force on us, or to entice us with. And so it is a process, and Rachel is making a mistake here. But in doing this mistake, she's taking an idol that Laban finds to be important. Because again, what was her question? She was worried about what she got to keep from the house.
Right.
What was she really asking was, can I take this idol with me? Because she took matters into her own hands. She didn't ask Jacob to see if it was okay for her to take it. She did that on her own doing. And it was not something that should have been done. And there's, of course, going to be a situation that comes from that. Keep going.
Verse 20. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, and that he told him not, that he fled.
And that's another thing too. It's interesting that it mentions that now Laban is a Syrian, right? Because again, that's a civilization that had idolatry and things like that. And so while we, of course, were more tuned to getting with them in the sake of what? In the sake of finding somebody from them rather than the Canaanites. Remember, because Jacob was told to go unto Laban the Syrian to marry one of his daughters and not one of the Canaanites like the way Esau did. But that doesn't mean that they still hadn't had their culture that was there. And it doesn't mean that it was correct. But it is a part of the history of that land. And that's why Laban is called a Syrian right here, to remind you that the customs that he held dear to are different from what Israel holds dear to.
Right.
Keep going.
So he fled with all that he had, and he rose up and passed over the river, and he set his face toward the Mount Gilead.
Keep going. So Jacob is now leaving, and he says he fled with all he had, rose up and passed over towards the Mount Gilead. So now he's heading back to the land of his forefathers. So he's at least on the way. Keep going.
Verse 22. And it was told Laban on the third day that Jacob was fled.
Mm-hmm.
And he took his brethren with him and pursued after him 7 days' journey, and they overtook him in the Mount Gilead.
Yeah, because again, when you're moving with a large group, it takes you longer to move everything around. So he was able to catch up to him because he got himself a little spec ops group to just go up and catch up to them. You know what I'm saying? To figure out what was going on, because he felt like he was being wrong because of the way that he left. Keep going. Oh, was that the end of verse 23?
Come on, sir.
We'll go back to the Hebrew and read from verse 24 through, let me see, through verse 30.
Come on, sir. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, starting at verse 24 in the Hebrew. Waya ba'a alahayim al Laban ha'ara maya bacha lam hala ya la wa ya amar lo so like it hashamar lakha pan I can't hear you, sir. Tadabar. I'm Yaquab. Matawab. Id. Ra'ai. Verse 25. Waya Shag. Laban. Ath. Yaquab. La Yaquab. The Kwai, Ath, Aha, Lawa, Bahar, Laban, Yaquai, Slakia, the Kwai, Ath, It's like it. Yawa, Bahar, Agalaid. Verse 26. Waya Amar, Laban, La Yaquab, Ma, Aisha Yath. So like it. Aisha Yath. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it. Watha Ga Nam. What? It's like it. Watha Ganab. Ath. La Baya. Watha Na Hag. Ath. Bana Taya. Banathaya. Ban Salaki. Bana Banataya. Kasha Baya Wath. Karab. Verse 27. Lama Nacha Ba Ath. La Barak. Watha Ganab. Athya. Wala. Haga. Select Haga Dabath. Select Haga Dabath. Select what is the Haga Dath. La Ya. Wa Asha La Ka. Bash Wa Asha Lach. Basha Ma Kha. How do you say that? So it's like Bashamak. Wa Bashara Yam. But Batap?
See?
Batap? That's the pa at the end, right?
Yeah, but top.
Batap. Wabaka na war.
War.
Bakana war. Wabaka war. Verse 28. Wala'a. Natasha Thanaya. Lana Shop. No, Slakia. Wanashak. Lanasha. No. So Lanashak. La Labanya. Wala Ba Nathia. Wala Nana Salakia. Wala Banathia. I Ta'a. Ha Hasakalath. Aishawa. Verse 29. Yash. La Allah. Yada ya. La Aisha Nath. I ma come. Ra'ai. Wa ala haya. Abaya. So like it. Abayakam. I mash.
You? I'm gonna come.
Where you at?
You were.
I done passed that.
Oh.
I Makam.
Well,
Come on, sir. I'm on spoke.
okay, so
Amar. Alaya. La Aymar. Hashamar. Lak. Mabada. Salak. Mada. Bar. Aim. Yaikwab. Matawab. Aid. Ra'ai. Verse 30. Wa'ai tha halak halakath kaya naka sap naka sa pa. It's like it. Naka sa pa tha labayath abayak. It's like yeah. Abayak, yeah. Okay. Lama'a
Kanabath.
Ganabath Ath Allah Haya.
Mhm. Now let's get that into English. What we just read. All right. A little bit more reading to do, but let's get that in English. Go ahead.
Come on. Where we leave off? Sorry.
Start at verse 24.
Come on. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, verse 24 in the English.
Mhm.
God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night and said unto him, take heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad.
See that? Now he's telling you that the Most High came to Laban in a dream, an actual God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's the real power of the Most High. He's the one that spoke to Laban directly and gave him an order. Keep going.
And Laban overtook Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the mount, and Laban with his brethren pitched in the mount of Gilead.
Now remember, the Most High told Laban to speak unto Jacob neither good or bad. Why is that? Because this situation, you should not, he's trying to get him to understand, don't assume anything about this. Though there may be some things from your house that are missing, though there's something that's gone, I need you to hear the whole half of the matter before making any kind of movement. Because once you actually speak to him, that's when you can clarify things. The Most High understands that. Our people need to understand that more than ever, because when we have a confrontation with anybody, whether it be our brothers, whether it be other nations or people that we deal with on the day-to-day, we're so quick to assume things about each other instead of hearing the whole entire thing and then making a judgment. The Most High had to step in to let him know this is what you need to do, because if you do anything outside of this, it's going to be a mistake. Keep going.
And Laban said to Jacob, what hast thou done that thou hast stolen away unawares to me? And he carried and carried away my daughters as captives taken with the sword.
And that's kind of, you see how he was leaning into that? Like he's trying not to say anything good or bad, but that's kind of a bad thing to say, because that's like an assumption, as taken by the sword. Now, it's not saying he's declaring it as if it's fact. He's saying it like, man, it just kind of seemed like you took him like as if you took him by force. It's like, well, what's going on? That's why he's inquiring about it, but he's still troubled in his mind, and that's why those types of details are coming out when he's asking them about this. Keep going.
Wherefore didst thou flee away secretly and steal away from me, and didst not tell me that I might have sent thee away with mirth and with songs, with tabret
Tabret.
and with harp.
Tabret is like a tambourine, right? And with harp. And so that now you see how Laban's kind of torn because now he's saying something that assumes something bad. Then he's kind of reassuring him, saying, "Man, I wish you would have told me because I would have, we could have had a little get together. We could have had a kickback before sending you out,
Right.
And that's something that he may and well could have done, but Jacob probably didn't feel like he was about to do that. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, again, Laban is not speaking good or bad because he's kind of like on the fence about his attitude towards the situation. Right? Keep going.
And has not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters, that thou hast now done foolishly in so doing.
Notice that he said, and have not suffered me to kiss my sons and my daughters, meaning his daughters belong to Jacob, but it very well could have been some of his sons that were servants to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so there is now he's looking upon himself saying, did you not consider me in this situation? Did you not at least think about how I felt about you just getting up and leaving out of nowhere? Keep going.
It is in the power of my hand to do you hurt, but the God of your father spake unto me yesternight, saying, take thou heed that thou speak not to Jacob either good or bad.
Keep going.
And now though thou wouldest needs be gone, because thou sore longest after my father's house, yet wherefore hast thou stolen my goods?
No,
Or my gods?
He says stolen my gods. Now the crazy thing is another thing about the Most High, an actual God coming up to Laban, is it's humbling him because now he's realizing that he's doing this whole chase, of course, to find out what happened with his family, but he's also irked about his idols being taken from him, right? Those images that we were talking about that Rachel took, Jacob didn't know nothing about that. But now he's bringing that up, and that's another layer into the situation. But one thing that Laban is being shown here is that there is a God that this man had. And again, Laban knew this because that was part of the reason why he wanted Jacob to stay longer, because he was being blessed by the Most High for treating Jacob to at least some extent in a good way, right? Is what he told him. He says, there's something about you. I'm paraphrasing. He says, there is a God that is with you because I have been better off since you've been here. You understand what I'm saying? So Laban understood that. And then that God spoke directly to him to tell him to not be tripping out over this whole situation. But then Laban goes to him and asks him, well, what about those idols that I had? And then he must deep down realize in his mind that the idols that he had really ain't doing nothing. They're not talking to him. They're not giving him guidance. They're not blessing him. And so another reason why he's worried is because now he lost the man in his household that was bringing the blessing. And then he lost his idol that he would hope would give him some kind of blessing even in Jacob's absence. So he really did feel like he was losing everything. You understand?
Right.
And though it'd be a vain thought to have, because again, heathens, they don't understand that, it still affected his thought process. Keep going. Oh, sorry, did you have a question?
The last word, I think it says Elohaya.
Yeah, Alahaya.
I noticed the Yah at the end means mind.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that, but it's a similarity to the word Elohim.
Yeah.
And it said gods, so it's like Elohim means gods.
Yeah, Alahaya. Well, so what's crazy about that is that Alahaya actually, in its root word, and let me get that too, because you're looking at it. Go back to verse 30. You're actually right there. Go down to the bottom. Allah. No, it says Allah. When you're looking in the Bible Hub app, it's Allah and then Yah. Allah. Look at the root word. The little number that's above it.
Right. Okay.
The root word is Alahayam, which means powers, right? But in that particular word, it actually says Alahaya. Because again, it's almost like as if it's saying, it is saying Alahayam, but it's just adding a ya at the end. Instead of it saying Alahayam ya, it's just saying Alaya. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, again, that's another thing too, because then that raises up the question: well, how come it's not in the plural sense? Because he does say multiple, right? And so we're just reading how it's written right there. That's what it says. It's almost like we found an error in the grammar there. You know what I'm saying? And so it's something that either we have to understand that's how it's actually said whenever you're replacing it being plural with it belonging to something else. Like if you were to say, like earlier, we had the same exact example when he said Akya, but it said brothers instead of, like it says, my brothers. Well, we know that Akyam means brothers.
Right.
How come it didn't say Akyamya? It says Akya. So whenever you're replacing the end, you're actually taking the plural, the yam or yan out of it, and then you're putting the possessive adjective at the end of it instead. So we're seeing that, and we'll get more examples of that, but that's something that's, as we're reading it, it's actually showing us that is the grammar rule of the time. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, starting at verse 31 in the Hebrew. Right? Ya'ai Yaiqua wa ya amar la laban kaya yara'ai. It's like yara'a taya ka ya amara. It's like amara taya pan sa taga zol ath bana wa sa yak ma'ai selaka ma'ai maya. Verse 32, I'm Ashar Dama. Selaka. What's that?
Matazah.
The Mataza At Alaha Ya Yak La'a Yaha Ya. It's like it. Yaha Ya Ha. How do you say that word, sir? Yaha Yaha
Yachaya.
Yachaya Nagad Akaya Nawa Akaya Nawa Hakar Lak Ma'a I'm Amadaya Wakwa. What? It's lucky, sir. Wakwa. Lak. Wala'a. Yada I.
Oh, so you went from 30 to
Yakwa.
31 to
31 to I don't know where we're reading to, sir. Where am I stopping?
Go ahead and read up to 44.
44?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, technically, you can read the rest of it because it's only if you read it.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that. And just pace yourself, because that's a lot.
Come on. Where are we stopping?
Oh, never mind. Yeah, never mind. 44.
Yeah. You know what? Read to 44, and then and we'll talk about the rest of it.
Come on, sir.
It's not.
Because that's a lot.
Kaya. Rakal.
Then the thumb.
Gonna Batum. Verse 33. Wayaba'a. Laban. Ba'a Thal. That was like Salakia. Ba'a Hal. Yaiquab. Waba. Salakia. Waba Ahal. La'a. Waba'a Hal. Shataya. Ha'a Mahath. Ha'a Mahath. Wala. Mataza'a. Waya. Salakia. Waya Taza'a. Ma'a. Salakia. Ma'a Hal. La'a. Wayaba'a. Ba'a Hal. Rakal. Verse 34. Wa Rakal. La Qua. Ha. Ath. Okay. Hath. Hatarapayim. Wata Sham. Bakar. Hagamal. With the Shab. Allahayim. So like Allahayam. Waya Masha. Waya Mashash. Laban. Ath. Call. Ha'al. Wa la'a. Mataza'a. Verse 35. With the Amar. All. Abaya. All. Kar. Ba'ai. Ya. Naya. Adonaya. Kaya. Lawa. Wa. Abakal. Laquawam. Mapa Nayak. Kaya. Darak. Nashayam. Laya. Waya. Pash. Wala'a. Mataza'a. Ath. Hatarapayim. Verse 36. Wayakar. La Yaiquab. Wa Ya Rab. Walaban. Oh, so like a Balaban. Wayaim. Yaiquab. Wayamar. La Laban. Ma'a. Pasha Aya. Ma'a. Kata'a. Thaya, Kaya, Dalakath, Acharaya. Verse 37. Kaya, Masha Shath, Ath, Kal, Kalaya, Ma, Matazaath, Makal, Kalaya, Bayathak, Bayathak, Shayam, Kha, Nagad, Akia, Wa'aka, Rak. So Wa'akia, Slakia, Wa'ak, Yak. Slakia. Wa'ya, Wa'kaya, Ha. This is a tongue twister right here. Slakia. Wa'ya, Ka, Wa'ya. Slakia. Wa'ya, Wa'kaya, Ka. Salakia, sir. How do you say this word? Wa'ya,
Wayawak,
Wak,
Wayawak,
Ya,
Yakawa,
Kawa. Wa'ya,
Wayawak, Yakawa.
Wa'ya, Wak, Yakawa. But Bayan, Shanaya, Nawa. Verse 38. Za'a, Aisha, Rayam, Shana, Ana, Kaya, Aymar, no, Aymak, Rakalayak, Wa'ai, Zayak, La'a, Shakalak, Slaki, Shakalai, Lawa, Wa'a ya la salam. Wa'a ya la ya. I oh slaki. Taza'a nak. La'a aka la tayam. The slaki. Aka la taya. Verse 39. Tarapa, La'a, Haba'a, Taya, Alayak, Anakaya, Aha, Ta, Na, Maya, select, Daya, Mayadya. Oh, that's together. Okay. Mayadya.
From my hands.
Mayadya.
Yeah, like Yadium, like Yadium Matal, like hands down.
Orale. Mayadya.
Yadium. From my hand.
Thaba, Kwa, Shana, Ganabathya, Yawam, Waganabathya, La. Verse 40. Haya Ya Thaya. Bayawam. Akala Naya. Rab. Wakarak. Banaya La. Slakia. Balayan La. Slakia.
That was it. That was it. Yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Fada.
with
What's Fada?
Dad. Shana Thaya. My I Yana my I Yanaya.
Verse 41.
Verse 41.
Zaha.
Za'a Laya
Asarayu.
Asha is Aisha Rayam.
Na.
Shana Baba Yatak
Yak.
Ada so Abba the Dakyak
Arabai.
Arabai
Ashara.
Ashara
Shana.
Shana
Asharayu.
Bashataya
Bana.
Banathayak
What's that? What?
Asha Aishash Aish Aisha
Shash.
Aishash. That's 6, right? Aishash.
No. Wow.
That's
Wash
Rosh Hashanah.
Washasha. Salaki.
Anayam.
Shanayam.
Anak.
Bataza Anak. Wa Tha Kha Lap Ath Masha Karathia Aisha Rath Man Salakin Mana Yum Lawala Lawala Ya. What's like in verse 42? Lawala Ya Allah Haya Abaya Allah Haya Abara Ha Abra Salaki Abraham
Kad.
Wapa Kad Yatazak Hayaha Laya Kaya Aitha Raya Kwam Shalakath Naya Ath I Naya so Anaya Anayaya Wa'ath Yaga Ya'ai Kapaya Ra'a Alahayim wa ya wa ka Amash. Verse 43. Select wa ya Ain Laban wa ya Amar Al Yaquab Habana Wath Bana Thaya Waha Ba Nayam Banaya Waha Taza'an Taza'a Naya Wakal Ashar Atha Ra'ah Laya Hawa'a Wala Ba Nathya Ma'a Ai Sha La'a Haya Wam Awa Laban Ya Salakia Laban Ya An Ashar Wala Yala Dawa. Verse 44. Wa I Tha Lakha Nakara Tha Bara Bara Yath Anaya Wa Ath Wahaya La'id Baya Naya Wa Wabai select Wabaya Nak. Verse 40. Oh, okay. We stopping there, right?
Yeah, go ahead and get that in the English now.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, verses where we leave off of. Verse 31. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, because I was afraid, for I said, peradventure thou wouldest take by force thy daughters from me. With whomsoever thou findest thou gods, let him not live. Before our brethren discern thou what is thine with me.
Right, because what he's saying is that if any of us did take any of those idols from you, put them to death. Because again, he didn't know about anybody taking them. He certainly didn't know Rachel was the one that took them. Right, she went and played. She played it smooth on it, right?
Right.
And you go see how she come up with the way to hide it. Keep going.
And take it to thee, for Jacob knew not that Rachel had stolen them. And Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the two maidservants' tents, but he found them not. Then went he out of Leah's tent and entered into Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the images and put them in the camel's furniture and sat upon them. And Laban searched all the tent, but found them not. And she said to her father, let it not displease my lord that I cannot rise up before thee.
See that? She made an excuse. She said, no, it's the time of the month. I can't get up right now. I don't want to, you know what I mean? I'm unclean. I don't need to be around everybody.
Right.
And that was the way that she got away with it, right? Keep going.
For the custom of women is upon me. And he searched, but found not the images. And Jacob was wroth and chode with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my trespass? What is my sin? Thou hast so hotly pursued after me. Whereas thou hast searched all my stuff, what hast thou found of all thy household stuff? What hast thou found of all thy household stuff? Set it here before my brethren and thy brethren, that they may judge betwixt us both. This 20 years have I been with thee. Thou ewes and thy she goats have not cast their young, and the rams of thy flock have I not eaten.
Right. So he's telling him, he said, look, we did with fair and square, right?
Right.
We only did was fair and square. So why are y'all tripping out over this? Keep going.
That which was torn of beasts I brought not unto thee. I bear the loss of it. Of my hand didst thou require it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night.
Right.
Thus I was in the day, the drought consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep departed from mine eyes. Thus have I been 20 years in thy house. I served thee 14 years for thy 2 daughters, and 6 years for thy cattle. Thou hast changed my wages 10 times, except the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac, and had been with me. Surely thou hast sent me away now empty,
See that? Now he's reminding them, he's telling them, listen, man, look at all the things I've gone through, from the harsh winters, the cold nights, the hot days, 20 years.
20 years.
Like, put this all into perspective before you make before you try to cause any kind of harm. He already knew, because he told him he wasn't going to harm him, right? Because
Right.
the Most High spoke to him. So, but they're just kind of laying it flat, right? You got to lay it all out there. Because I'm assuming that it may or may not have just been him talking one-on-one. There may have been, people around to see the situation unfold and see how, the scripture says that in the
Not the 2 or 3 witnesses.
in the mouth of two, perfect. That's the one I'm thinking of. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word could be established. And so they're establishing it so that everybody can understand what's going on. Keep going.
God has seen mine affliction and the labor of my hands,
Right.
and rebuked thee yesternight.
That's what you understand that? And he's telling them, look, the Most High is checking you because of all that. He told me that he done seen all the ways that you've been treating me wrong all these years. Let's find a solution here. Go ahead.
Verse 43. And Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. And what can I do? And what can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne?
You see that? Now he's telling them, it's almost like he's telling them, well, all this stuff was mine. Now you're trying to tell me it's all yours now? What can we do now to remedy this situation? Was that the end of verse 44?
No, it's like you said, that we're coming into verse 44 right now.
Go ahead.
Verse 44. Now therefore come thou, let us make a covenant, I and thou, and let it be for a witness between me and thee.
Agreement. That's what the covenant is. I and thou, let it be a witness between me and thee. Because again, now he wants to involve Jacob's God in this situation to let him know, look, this is going to be something that we're going to come to an agreement with, that you can't turn back on, because now you're going to need to. All right, go ahead. And that's something that our people really need to kind of get used to, is the fact that whenever we come to an agreement on something, that has to be upheld, because it is between us that are making the covenant with each other, and also our obedience to the Most High that solidifies that agreement. You understand what I'm saying? And it goes without saying that that's something that carries over into all aspects of what we do as a nation, whether it be a marriage, whether it be, say the setting up of an altar at a location that is going to be set for the truth to be established, And so that's what's going on here. Now, again, looking at this, knowing that, again, Laban is Assyrian, we're just kind of recapping here what's going on. I want to give the brother a little bit of time so he can go to the restroom. Laban, being Assyrian, had a different culture growing up. No different than Moses' family in the land of Ur. Or no, it was Abraham's family in the land of Ur. When he was being raised up. There's different cultures that came before Israel was being established. But that's why this history is here. The history of the Bible is here so that we can make note of how our culture came to be in the midst of all these other cultures that were around in those times. Now, again, this goes without saying as well. When we talk about the truth and, of course, our culture and and the Bible itself, we have to understand that it is our end all be all, right? Because it defines who we are. But there were other nations that existed before our people were established as the nation of Israel, because we're reading about Jacob, who was the father of the nation of Israel. And at that point in time, there were other nationalities that had their own way of doing things, that had a different culture. Now, I will say this. There is something a little bit more similar between us and, say, like the Ishmaelites, right? That go back as far as the seed of Shem. But then that's where you start seeing the separation when you go all the way back to the sons of Noah, that seed of Shem is where it really starts to branch off into the own culture. And that's part of the reason why Isaac did not want Jacob and Esau to marry into the Canaanites, because we know for sure they came from a whole entire different lineage that branched out after the times of Noah. So now here we are, where we have people that are more or less a little bit closer towards one another as far as like the lineages and things like that. And I need to double check that because the Syrians come from well, I know they don't come from Ham. So that's one I know for sure. But as far as like us dealing with them, that again, that they were in a closer land than the Canaanites. So we dealt with them as far as like our original forefather looking for a woman to bring the nation of Israel together with. All right, go ahead.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, starting at verse 45 in the Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Wayakwak, Yaquab.
Uh-huh.
All right.
You're on verse 45. Yeah, verse 45.
Come on, concert.
Just go ahead and read through 55.
Come on,
Actually, no, read to the end of the chapter and then the first 3 verses of the next chapter. Understand?
Come on, concert. Verse 40.
I was almost here.
No sign first.
Aban. Wa ya ra ya ma taza ba. Verse 46. Wa ya amar Yaquab la chayan yawa Salakia la ak ya la akya
Lakiwa.
Salakia la akyawa
Mhm.
la kwa
Lakwatawa.
la kwatawa ba na yam wa ya kwa kawa aba na yam wa ya I shawa gal wa ya khala lawa sham al hagal. Verse 47.
Are you going through the rest of the verses?
Yeah. He's going to finish the chapter and then go 3 verses into the next one.
Oh, so yeah. Actually,
Yeah, that's fine.
That's-
Yeah.
also we are actually. Do you have the Blue Letter Bible app on your phone?
Yeah, no, I do got it.
Okay. If you go on there, because you read in Hebrew.
Yeah, we're reading Hebrew right now. Yeah.
No, I don't. I had a purple Bible one. It's from some. To be honest, but it had everything. It had all the names and all. Instead of Lord, instead of any title, that just Hebrew crazy.
Oh,
That's cool.
most time first.
Was it King James?
It was it wasn't affiliated King James. So they had some. They had the Apocrypha, and so it was just for old, new, and then Jasher.
Oh,
Yeah, so I didn't really. Jasher can not come out 100% off, so I didn't really start using it when I got 6-11.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we usually are teaching in English unless it is like the Sabbath service or something like that. So you can still use the King James, 1611, especially. What verse are you in?
Verse 47, sir.
So when you go to the Bible Hub app and you click on interlinear, it should let you kind of scroll over from Genesis to we're in chapter 31. And
Genesis chapter 31.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Verse 47.
Yeah, I got a King James 11:200. I just
Okay, perfect.
Genesis 31.
Yeah, Genesis 31. And we're at verse 47 on the bar. Wa ya kwa ra'a lawa laban yagar shahada wa tha'a Salakia wa ya Iquab, Quara'a, Lawa, Gala, Ide. Verse 48. Waya Amar, Laban, Hagal, Hazaa, Ide, Baya, Naya, Wabaya, Nak, Haya, Wam, All. No, so like Al, Khan, Quara, Kara'a, Shama, Shamawa, Salakia, Shama, Mawa, Gala'id. Verse 49. Waha, Mataza, Pa, Ashar, Imar, Tazap, Yahweh.
Oh, Yatazal.
Oh, I didn't see the Yataza'ab, Yahweh. Bayanai, so like Bayanaya, Waba Ya Nak, Kaya, Na Sa, the Par. So like Nasa, so like Nasatar, Ayash, Mara'ai Ha Wa. Verse 50. Ta'aina Ath Banathaya Wa'am Taqwa Taqwach Nashayam Al Banathaya Aya Ayan Ayash I Mananawa Ra'ah Allahayam Id Baya Naya Wa Bayanak. Verse 51. Waya Amar Laban La Yaquab Hanaya Hagal Haza like Hazaa Wahana Hamataza Ba Ashar Yara Yathaya Bayana like Bayanaya Wabaya Nak. Verse 52. Id Hagal Hazaa Wa'ai Da Hamataza Ba Aim Alaya La'a I Bar Alayak Ath Hagal Hazaa Wayam Atazaa La'a Tha'ai Bar Alaya Ath Hagal Hatazaa. Oh, it's like a Hazaa Wa'ath Hamataza Ba Haza'ath La Ra'ai. It's like La Ra'ai.
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Verse 53. Allahayam. It's like Allahaya. Abraham. Wa'ala. So like Wa'alahaya. Naka. Wa. So like Naka. War. Shapa. Tawa. Baya na. So like it. Baya na yawa. Alahaya. Abaya ham. It's like it. Abaya. Yeah, Abaya ham. Waya Shabai Yaquab Bapa Kad Bayan. It's like Abayan Yatazak. Verse 54. Waya
Sabbath.
Zab. It's like a Waya Zabach Yaquab Zabach Bach. It's like a Bahar Waya Ra Laaka Ya Wa Laa Call Lacham Waya Kalawa Lacham Waya
Wayalayanwa.
Wayala Yanwa Bahar. Verse 55. Waya Shakam Laban Bakar Waya Na Shak Laban. So Laban Yan
Yawa. Labanyawa.
Labanyawa Wala Ban Wa Tayan Salakia
Labany.
Wa
Labanawath. Yawa.
Laban Wa Wathyawa Waya Barak Atha
Atahan.
Ataham
Yeah, Atahan.
Waya Lak Waya Shab Laban Lama Kwa Mawa.
Just the first 3 verses of the next chapter.
This is book of Genesis 32, starting at verse 1 in the Hebrew. While Yaquab Halak Labara Kawa Waya
Pagayawa.
Pagawa Bawa Mala'a Kawa. Salakia Mala'a Salakia
Mala'ak. Yeah.
Mala'akya Alahayam. Verse 2. Waya Amar Yaquab Ka'ashar Ra'am Macha Na Allah Alahayam,
Mhm.
Za'a, wa wa it's like Waya
Korah.
Kwara, Sham, Hama Kwawam, Ha Hay, it's like
Ahawa.
Hahawa'a, Maka na Yum.
Mhm.
Verse 3. Waya Sha Lach Yaquab Mala'a Kayam Lapa Nya Yawa Al Asha
Ashwa.
Ashawa Achayawa Ara
Tazah.
Taza'a Sha'ai Yar Ya
That's right. Shaddai.
Shada Ada Wam.
All right, let's get that in English now.
Come on, council.
Genesis chapter 31, start at verse 45. And again, this is Jacob's on his way back to his homeland after having basically been over in Laban's household for 20 years. And that's where he had built his family with the daughters of Laban and their handmaids, right? So he ended up with a lot of kids with 4 different women. And now he's taking everything back to his homeland. Go ahead.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 31, verse 45 in the English.
Mhm.
And Jacob took a stone and set it up for a pillar. And Jacob said unto his brethren, gather stones. And they took stones and made an heap. And they did eat there upon the heap.
Right, because this is basically a kind of like it's not meant to be kind of any kind of altar or shrine or anything like that. It's just like a way of notifying that this is a place of importance between the two because they made an agreement, right? And then what they said, we're going to make a covenant right here. Go ahead.
It's a landmark, sir.
There you go. That's a perfect way to describe it. In fact, that's what they call it, in more or less. Keep going.
And Laban called it Jagar Shahadatha, but Jacob called it Galid.
Galid, or in the Hebrew is pronounced Galaad. And then it's Hebrew. They mean the same thing, but one of them is in either a different dialect or a different language altogether, right? Because Laban calls it one thing, Jacob called it, but they both mean the same thing. It means witness heap. Witness heap, meaning a pile of stones is the landmark, like you said. All right, go ahead.
And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it Galid.
Mhm.
And Mizpah for her and Mizpah, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another.
And this is Mizpah means watchtower. It says, for he said, the Lord watch between me and thee. So it's kind of like you said, a landmark that's meant to recognize that the Most High is keeping an eye on both of them to either hold their end of the bargain and to also bless them.
Right.
Go ahead.
If thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness betwixt me and thee.
This is what the covenant is for, because again, what happens right here is that Laban is looking for reassurance that Jacob is going to take care of his daughters, right?
Right.
And then also Jacob is looking to get the completion of all the work that he did for the 20 years that he was working under Laban. Okay. And that's exactly what he did, is that he built basically an empire that he's taking on the move back to his homeland. It's a
Right.
large transaction taking place. This is kind of like, I'm not going to say like a receipt of the transaction, but like I said, like you mentioned, the perfect example of a landmark that solidifies it in a sense, right? And that's something that's been done multiple times throughout Israel's history, is that they have some form of landmark that's made to recognize an event that takes place at that land.
Right. And so, like, sir, you can even find examples of this today, landmarks here in America.
Give an example.
For an example, there was a park that me and Officer Capiar went to, and there was a landmark right on the southeast corner of the park, and they even have why they have that landmark there, and they have like a plaque there.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, a lot of times things like that, they commemorate a piece of history, something that happened in that land,
Right.
you know, and there's different versions of that in many different cultures. Sometimes they'll have a different significance, but this is just, again, just kind of like a sign of respect between the two.
Right. But I mean, this is part of the history of when it started taking place, when people started doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And this is, like I said, there's different examples of that. This is just one of them.
Right.
Go ahead.
And Laban said unto Jacob, behold this heap, and behold this pillar which I have cast betwixt me and thee.
Mm-hmm.
This heap be witness, and this pillar be witness, that I will not pass over this heap to thee, and thou shalt not pass over this heap and this pillar unto me for harm.
Right. Meaning we're going to leave our, whatever discrepancy we may have thought that was being put in place, we're going to leave that behind us. And this is going to be a truce between the two of us, right? Because you have part of my family with you and some of the things that belong to me. Then they clarified that Jacob did not have in possession. Well, they didn't do this correctly, but it was searched out that none of the idols that belonged to Laban's house were in his possession. It comes to find out later on that it was Rachel that snuck it out, but that was not Jacob's fault. That was not done by him. He had no knowledge of that, and he would have definitely not allowed Rachel to do that if if she had brought it to his attention. That's why she did it in such a deceptive way. But again, no harm, no foul, right? So that's what this heap is commemorizing, or is memorializing, basically.
Right.
So they're not going to cross over this heap to bring harm to one another. But keep going. There's a little more on it.
Verse 53. The God of Abraham and the God of Nahor,
Mm-hmm.
the God of their father, judged betwixt us. And Jacob sware by the fear of his father Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jacob offered sacrifice upon the mount, and called his brethren to eat bread. And they did eat bread, and tarried all night in the mount. And early in the morning, Laban rose up and kissed his sons and his daughters and blessed them. And Laban departed and returned unto his place.
Right. So that was the end of that matter. Basically, that it just shows that people can work together to come to a solution to problems that may seem like somebody has done somebody in the wrong. When again, the Most High opened Laban's mind up to realizing that he shouldn't jump to conclusions, and because of that, there came a good benefit on both sides because of that.
Right.
Now let's go to the next chapter, because it's going to start bringing up a whole nother endeavor, right? And we're just going to read the first 3 verses. Genesis chapter 32, and then we're going to leave off on that, and we'll say that for the next Sabbath service. We continue, I guess you could say, Jacob's return, and then, of course, Esau coming back into the picture to some extent.
Concert. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 1 in the English. And Jacob went his way, and the angels of God met him.
Mm-hmm.
And when Jacob saw them, he said, "This is God's host." And he called the name of that place Mahayim, Salakia, sir.
Mahanyam.
Mahanyam.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say Mahayim.
No, that's a different word. This is Mahanyam. It's just
Mahanyam.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom.
It kind of grazed over that. It's a pretty important thing, because it's literally the messengers of the Most High met him and presented him God's army.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And what more? This is going to be, these types of things are important, because these are moments where somebody's faith is like multiplied. You know what I'm saying? Big events like that. It's saying it's something like that is kind of grazing over it like it's just a normal thing. But the fact that God's army appears in front of Jacob is a very big deal. Those are things that we have to not take for granted if you have the opportunity to see something like that, especially during these last days where, I mean, the Most High may bring Israel out of our captivity in these days. It's very well looking like it with everything going on in the Middle East right now. Most High bringing us out of this captivity into the land where he's going to purify us and purge us in the wilderness. Those are the things that we prepare for now. That when we see the Most High's army being actually brought forth on this earth and bringing his decree forth and doing the things that he said he was going to do and the things that these prophecies are being fulfilled in real time, when we see those things, it should build our faith to know that whatever comes next, we need to hold on to our faith so that we can get through those things. Because salvation is just the beginning of a whole new battle.
Right.
Of us having to rebuild our entire nation from scratch. But guess what? It's been done before, and that's what we're reading about right here. That we've built up to the point where we can move to another place and set up our kingdom and raise up our culture again. And there's going to come a time where we're doing that now to prepare for it, but it's going to be an even more challenging state because imagine you're not going to have all the comforts of what this place is. You know what I'm saying? Really building things from scratch again. Read that again. Somebody just misses. What does that say?
It's likely, sir. It's from a sister. It says, like, sir, forgive me, but it seems as Israelite women, we have always been a source of trouble for our brothers. Would it be wrong to pray that the Most High change that? Change that in us?
That she's on the right mindset. Give this sister a hand, because what she's saying, in a sense, it's like that's what we pray for, to have that new outlook on things, right?
Right.
We pray to have a positive outlook on things, and that's something that we're gonna really need to cling to. That's another reason why I was bringing up faith before, because as we transition into a whole new world, right? Scripture says Esau is the end of the world and Jacob the one to follow it. That doesn't just happen in a blink of an eye. That comes through the effort and the agreements between a group of people. You know what I'm saying? That it's going to take leadership and it's going to take obedience unto Christ, because it is going to be Christ that rules over us as we go through that process. Because again, things are going to have to be earned. And that mindset that you're looking for, sis, is one that has to be earned as well. Praying for it is a part of that process because it shows that is your intention. You understand? Make that part of your, put that at the forefront of your mind of what you want to accomplish, and that the Most High will give you the discipline and the knowledge and the scriptures, because that's the main thing, right? Giving you the scriptures necessary to train your mind into that mindset. Like I said, it's not just going to happen without any edification behind it. It's going to come through diligent studying. And that's why one of the reasons I tell people to take notes, because that's what helps back up your mind to give you more ammo for that fight. You understand what I'm saying?
Concert.
But anyways, keep going. Was that the end? No,
that was the end of it, sir.
End of verse 2. Go to verse 3.
Verse 3, and Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom.
Now he's acting as a ambassador, right? He's acting as a true leader, because now he just dealt with everything with Laban, solidified their truce, their covenant with each other. Now he's going back to his land where he knows that there's unfinished business, right? So the first thing he does is he sends out messengers before him so that they can then reach out to establish that communication again, and to hopefully establish that communication in a peaceful way, because we know Esau had an enmity against Jacob on his leaving, right? Taking the blessing from him, you know what I'm saying, getting the inheritance from Isaac. But Isaac, I believe, is yet we'll see. We'll see more about this. All right. And so that's the end of that. Now with that, Amajim, which means to stand. Is copyright still outside?
Come on, concert. He's taking perimeter checks.
No sweat. Amajim. Let me call him. I don't know if the bars out there work.
We can go ahead and just do the prayer.
With that, Amajim, Sar, which means to turn, we're going to face towards Jerusalem. I'm ready to do the prayers. That's why I was calling. No sweat. Upon Yahakwadam, which means to turn and face towards the east, which again in the scriptures is we face towards
So
Jerusalem.
it's like to do blow the
Yeah, we
horn.
gotta get the.
Oh yeah, blow it. I'm sure we'll get that.
And this call.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we're gonna read the Lord's Prayer in the last one, guys. But now,
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemaim,
Shabbat Shemayim.
Udash,
Wadash.
Hayat,
Hayah.
Shemukah,
Shemka.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Malakaka,
Malakaka.
Taba'ah,
Tabaa.
Ratazayaka,
Ratizayaka.
Hayat,
Hayah.
Aisha,
Ayasha.
Baratiza,
Baratiza.
Kuba,
Kawa.
Hayat,
Hayah.
Bashemam,
Bashamayim.
Latanana,
Latanlanawa.
Lakam,
Lakam.
Ka,
Ka.
Yawam,
Yawam.
Wasalakna,
Kasalaknawa.
Kabawatna,
Kabawatinawa.
Kasalakna,
Kasalaknawa.
Kabawatiana,
Kabawatinawa.
Walala,
Wala.
Tabi'ayana,
Tabayanawa.
Manasawan,
Manasaiwan.
Abal,
Abal.
Aishayana,
Shayanawa.
Mayan,
Mayan.
Ra,
Rai.
Kaya,
Kaya.
Laka,
Laka.
Amalakwa,
Amalakwa.
Hala,
Wahala.
Watapara,
Watapara.
Walamim,
Walamim.
Aman.
Aman.
The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
thy kingdom come.
thy kingdom come,
Thy will be done.
thy will be done
In earth.
in earth
As it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
Our daily
our
bread.
daily bread,
And forgive us our
and
debts.
forgive us our debts
As we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors,
And lead us not.
and lead us not
Into temptation.
into temptation,
But deliver
but
us.
deliver us
From evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom.
For thine is the kingdom,
And the power.
and the power,
And the glory.
and the glory
Forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
All right, sorry, we're gonna turn face to front again. At this time, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the brothers one courtesy salute. Sister, you can have a seat if you like. Individual, Ahmad Shabbat.
Hold on, no. You gotta salute the scroll. Salute the scroll.
Oh. Yeah, I should actually pour them the wine before. Go ahead and turn towards me.
Salaki.
Come on, concert. Yah Bashim El Shabrak Yah.
Yabashim Yatabrakya.
Yahweh Bashem Yosha Brakya. Salaki.
Yeah, step out here. All right, bro, so you're gonna come over here.
Yeah.
And when you stand on my spot, you can keep your left foot where it is, just step out like this. Yeah, and then you put your hands behind your back like this. And then when you're getting ready to salute the scroll, you just bring your feet together like this, arm like this. Then you put your in the chest.
Yeah, Allah Hashem,
Right. Go ahead and put your fist on here though. After you go, the other one.
Yeah, that's fine. Looks like you blessed you want to bless yourself. You know what I mean? Brakya.
Barakiata.
Yeah, Brakya.
Yeah. So now you can say Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Ba'asham,
Bahashem,
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai,
Barak Yah.
Barakia,
And what he said was, Lord, in the name of Christ, bless
Lord, in the name of Christ, bless
me. And then you just bring it back. About face. Yeah, you just turn from it and then step with it. Then go back over here. Come on over here, bro.
How about over here?
Yeah.
Now,
Now, at this time, we'd like to ask if anybody would like to be anointed. Now's the time to do so.
Son of ass. That's
An anointment is, again, it's kind of a similar thing. It's more of an official prayer specifically for one person that may be going through something, whether it be an ailment, whether it be any kind of situation.
I want to
Yeah. Well, Most High Christ, let's get an example of that. Where's that prayer at?
That's the first one, sir.
Perfect. That's it right there.
God make us way, and then I have So what they close to me while I'm trying to break off. It's really hard.
Understood. Sir, who could be up here for the anointing prayer? The Nate, can us three do it?
Yeah, with 3 officers.
I'm sorry, Christ. Stand on this side.
Come on, cousin.
Yeah, copy yard. Go ahead and pour the oil for him. That's enough. Now we're gonna say the prayer, and then when we get to the point where we say your name, you're just gonna say your name. We're gonna repeat it 2 or 3 times, and then we'll finish the prayer. Yabarak, Yabaraka, Yahweh.
Yabaraki.
Yahweh.
Wayashamaraka,
Washamarka.
Ya'ar Yahweh,
Ya'ar Yahweh.
Panyawa,
Panyawa.
Al Yaka,
Al Yaka.
Wayachanka,
Wayakanka.
Yasha'a Yahweh,
Yasha'a Yahweh.
Panyawa,
Panyawa.
Al Yaka,
Al Yaka.
Wayashamlaka,
Walashamlaka.
Shalom,
Shalom.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Bahasham,
Bashim.
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai.
Barak,
Barak.
Rapah,
Rapah.
Magan,
Magan.
Hagan,
Hagan.
Raul.
Raul.
Say him.
Raul.
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 One more time.
Raul.
Raul.
Bahasham,
Bashim.
Yahweh Shai,
Yahweh Shai.
the water.
The water.
Amen.
Amen.
In English, what we said was Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Yahweh make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless, heal, shield, and protect. All right. Now, at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to give the brothers one courtesy salute. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim, Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahshua Barakatah. Yaji Matah. Now we're going to turn and face the sister for one courtesy salute. And we do this even when there's no audience in the class because there could be people online that are viewing as well. Just a heads up on that. Men of Israel, Amadim Shabbat. Amadim, Barak. Yahweh Tamar Atah Hashem Yahshua. Yaji Matah. Dismiss.